And we're back for another riveting segment
My
of
favorite
Beer
segment.
Nights,
I love this
episode 666,
The number of the
divided
beast.
by, well, I don't know.
Something
It's
like
just
that.
episode 6.
Episode 6.
So. What are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about music in this
Yes.
segment. Yeah, music.
I'm all giddy.
So
I love music.
for this segment, last episode, if you guys watched, which you probably didn't, but if you did, we did top 5 debut albums. We're going to keep the motif going with top 5s. And so this time we're going to do top 5 opening songs of an album. So do you got that?
Got that. Yes.
The top
Opening
5
songs.
best songs
Number one
to
track.
open an album, set the tone,
Yeah.
get you in the mood, grab you by the balls, whatever.
And really, like, this is kind of like everyone will have a different list. This list between me and him and you guys, you know, it's what you think, because there's like hundreds of thousands of fucking albums.
Isn't
so,
it like every list though? It's like
yeah.
every list is
It is
subjective.
Subjective, it is,
every
but
list.
but my list is right and yours is wrong, so that's how it goes.
Yeah, why? Because your list has 5 Korn songs and
Yes.
3 Korn songs
How'd
and
you
2
know?
Slipknot songs
Did you
on
see my list? I hide my phone over here.
it. Go, just go.
You want me to go first?
Yes, go.
All right, I'll go first.
Go.
All right.
Let's get the garbage out of the way first.
This will be my number 5 track, opening track off the album. And it is from Shadows Fall, The Light That Blinds, from The War Within.
That's a really great opening track. It's a
Number
really
5,
great one.
it is.
It's really great.
Yes. Fucking just like amazing intro leading into it, and then just fucking just shreds. Has a great fucking middle like breakdown section, great solo section, and it's a fucking banger of a track. This fucking just kicks off that album.
It's a banger
Kicks
for
that
sure.
album off.
And you know what? It's got that old school kind of metal acoustic opening,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like the Metallica style acoustic
Yeah.
opening, where it's just lulls you in, and then it just goes into this crazy opening.
Yeah.
That's the shred with a double kick, and then it busts into a death metal riff.
Death metal riff, yeah.
Like a really, really good death metal riff, and it's great song.
Vocals
and then
are good, and
it kills from there.
Kills from there. Number 4 track is off a Slayer album, South of Heaven. No, sorry, Raining Blood. My bad. It was Raining Blood. Angel of Death.
Angel of Death is
Angel
good
of
stuff.
Death. Can't go wrong with that, motherfucker.
So what makes that song for me is the breakdown. Obviously,
love the breakdown.
The breakdown is like the song. The song is like cool. Like it's like everything up until that point. It's like it's cool. It's cool thrash metal. But then when that breakdown hits, it's like okay, another level.
Yeah.
Another level.
I still love the scream though.
Oh, at the very beginning.
Very beginning. Oh, just hits you right in the fucking nuts. Yeah.
That sounds pleasant.
It's what it's supposed to do. My number 3 track, I think you're going to like this one. It's off of Wish You Were Here, Shine On You, Crazy Diamond.
Yes.
Part 1. As a fucking...
It's a great
13
selection.
minute.
It's a great selection.
13
It's a
minutes
great
right
selection.
there.
So
And it just
it's a great selection.
leads into the entire album. You finish off with part 2.
At the end,
At
yeah.
the end.
At the
So
end.
it's such a awesome opening track to start off that album. This album's amazing.
What
too.
a great fucking album too.
Yeah.
One of the great albums
Dave
of all time. If we ever do a top 5 albums of all time, which is extremely hard, we probably will never do that because that's extremely hard. But that album is close. It's right there. It might be in that top 5 of all time. I don't know. It's too hard, but you know.
Great song.
Yeah.
My number 2 from Metallica, Master of Puppets, Battery.
It's tough
You
to
think
beat
about
that
that
one.
one?
It's tough to beat that
Yeah.
one. It's pretty tough to beat.
That
Pretty tough to beat.
I think we've said this numerous times about that song. The verse riff and James singing it while playing the guitar is like, how does he fucking do that shit? I've actually learned that song on bass through I think the middle section to the end, because me and my former band were doing like a medley, and I had to learn that part, and it's fucking hard, dude. It's
Well, I
to
know.
sing it too.
I've known that. I've known the entire
I'm pretty
song
sure you've known it,
on guitar
yeah.
for I don't know, a long time. I've been playing guitar a long time. So I've known that song. It's not like it's a crazy difficult song to play. I mean, like the from a rhythmic standpoint, it can be challenging, and the leads can be challenging as well. But singing the verse over that rhythm riff is extremely difficult. Yes, extremely.
And it's a fucking banger of a song, dude.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah. My number one is this is easily my number one because it's this song you don't hear ever. Like no one copies this song, like hardly ever. It's Black Sabbath, War Pigs, and it's a
great choice. It's a great choice.
And from 1970, this fucking song, the song structure on this song,
it's so different.
It's so different from anything in that era.
It's very creative.
And no one really copied that at all either. Like there's no real verse or chorus, or it's more of a story.
Yes.
If you look at it.
And it's very spacey and kind of like there's an element of like unknown to it.
Yeah.
To where it's like you're almost kind of waiting. Yeah, you're waiting to see what happens next, and it's super compelling.
Yeah.
It's an ultra compelling song, and it never gets old to listen to. Mm-mm. It's super heavy as well, and it exemplifies what makes Black Sabbath great, from just the darkness, the anger, the expression that's there, of the darkness and the anger, the heaviness, and then the experimentation, the bass playing on that song is stupid. How it interplays with the lead guitar. And then you have Ozzy, who just sounds like a man possessed. Yeah, he really does sound like a man possessed. And then, we can't forget Bill Ward, who's a god.
Oh my god, dude!
Bill Ward is amazing.
If you watch, there's on YouTube the live version of them playing in the '70s on that song is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's epic.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, to see that song being into hard rock and metal like we are.
Yeah.
To be alive in 1970 and see that band performing that song would be like a reckoning. Like it's almost like a revelation. Like it's just like, oh my god, like what are they doing? It's so different from anything else that's out there. Absolutely. So.
All right. Well, what are your top 5, Mr. Know-It-All?
So number 5. Excuse me.
Get that beer in you.
It's called Beer Night, right?
Yeah.
So, number 5 for me is also a Shadows Fall song.
Really?
It's from not their debut album, because they did have an indie album before this with a previous singer, but the first album with their proper lineup, it's called Crushing Belial. It has an intro track to it that starts. The album, by the way, is called Of One Blood. And there's an intro track that kind of creates this really dark, ominous tone. And it sounds really kind of evil, I guess, for lack of a better word. And then Crushing Belial comes in and just destroys everything in its way. And it's one of the heaviest...
It's a good song.
One of the heaviest songs they've ever done. And just... the structure of it, the way it flows, the ride it takes you on. And then the chorus riff is, and the not just the riff, but the rhythm of the band and the feel of the band during the chorus is still one of the heaviest things ever. Like it hits a sweet spot that is so awesome that I can listen to it over and over and over and over again.
I love the slow down part.
Yeah.
And the guitar solo in the slow down part with the medley.
But then when it goes into a thrashy part and into a death metal part, and then it goes back into that chorus riff and just crushes.
Fucking good song.
And it's very well arranged. It's very, 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 very well arranged. So it's definitely a banger. That's way up there. Number 4. See, this is tough. See, now this is where they start jockeying for a position for me, because I'm kind of like, I feel like number 3 and number 4 are pretty interchangeable. I'm going to say, and I'm thinking about this in the moment because they kind of jump back and forth in my mind, but in the moment I'm going to say Number 4 is AC/DC Hell's Bells.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
So what makes that so impactful for me is thinking about the history and thinking about Bon Scott, who was the original singer for AC/DC, and such an amazing frontman. One of the greatest frontmen of all time. So much attitude. He had so much attitude and charisma. And his voice is so different and so unique. He wasn't the greatest singer ever, but there was something about him that it will never be duplicated. It will never be duplicated. And he died tragically. Back in Black was the first album they did with his replacement, Brian Johnson, who has been the staple of AC/DC ever since. Yeah. And it opens with Hell's Bells. Like, the first song you hear with the new singer is Hell's Bells, and it's probably still pretty close to their best song.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make arguments for others, but it's right up there.
It's right up there, yeah.
And it's just so, like, you mentioned kick you in the balls. I don't know if I'd go there, but because that hurts. Maybe it grabs you by the balls and gets your attention and forces you to listen. You're like, okay, don't kick me there. You can hold on to them. Be gentle. And I'll listen to what you have to say. And that's what that song does. Like, it's a very dramatic opening with the bell ringing.
Yeah.
And then that guitar riff that comes in, and it's very kind of moderate and slow, but it's just so attention grabbing, and it's unforgettable. It really is unforgettable. I remember the first time I got that album, I was a young kid, in probably 6th grade, like a long, long time ago, and listening to that and just being like, wow, like, this is hard rock right here. This is AC/DC exemplifies hard rock. They will never be duplicated. So many bands have tried. But even somebody like Guns N' Roses, for example. Guns N' Roses to me is very much like in the wake of AC/DC. Yeah. And they kind of went deeper into they tried to get a little bit more experimental than AC/DC ever did, and that's fine. But to me, AC/DC exemplifies the attitude that Guns N' Roses was trying to do. Yeah. Right? And they're much more of a classic band to me. Their music is more timeless. They were more consistent, and yada, yada, yada. So
it's drinking music as well.
Oh, my God. Great drinking music. Best bar music ever, AC/DC. Put on an AC/DC song in a bar, I'm excited.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Number 3.
Number 3.
This is kind of a deep cut. It really shouldn't be, but it kind of is, probably just because of its length. I'm going to go Led Zeppelin, Achilles' Last Stand.
Ooh.
So
good tune. Good fucking tune.
So I'm a gigantic Led Zeppelin fan. So is he. So they've done so many fantastic things. They did so many fantastic things. But what I always really liked about Achilles' Last Stand is it had this progressive element, of course, because it's a long, drawn-out song that has a lot of twists and turns. But it never feels like it's dragging. It's a 10-minute plus song, which means we'll never hear it on the radio, right? Most people who aren't super into music are gonna hit the next track part of the way through. That's a B.
That's a fucking B.
That's a fucking B. Look at that.
Fuck it. Oh, actually, probably kill it. Hold
on. Unbelievable.
On your pool table, by the way.
You douchebag. Yeah. You're cleaning that up, by the way.
So, anyway,
Zeppelin, Achilles' Last Stand. Yeah, so it's a long-ass song. It's 10.5 minutes. You're never going to hear it on the radio. Most people aren't going to play it because, it doesn't fit in at a party or anything like that. But to me, that actually kind of, it's kind of what I like. Like, I like songs that kind of involve the listener, that are works of art, that really kind of take you on a ride, that make you think. I don't like background music. I like music that grabs you. Yeah. And that makes you want to hear every note that comes next and see what the band is going to do next. And that song is a prototypical example of that, to where you just are waiting to hear what this crazy ingenious band is going to do next in one song. Not even an album, just in one song. So it definitely makes the list for me. Otherwise I wouldn't be talking about it.
Good song, man. Good one.
2, Black Sabbath. See,
I had it was either, for me, it was either War Pigs or Black Sabbath. And
It's Black Sabbath.
For me, it's War Pigs. So.
It's Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath for you. Okay.
It's the first song on the first album. It sets the tone so crazily. I've never heard another song that sets the tone like that for a band, to where you hear it and you're like, okay, this is something different. This is a band completely creating a brand new genre, by the way.
Yeah.
It is the first heavy metal song, and it's not close. I talked about this in a previous episode when I talked about when I put that album as one of my top 5 debut albums, and saying this is the ground zero for heavy metal.
Right there.
That song, because it opens the album, is the real ground zero. And other people, once again, want to tell you that it's Steppenwolf or Iron Butterfly or other bands. No. If you hear Black Sabbath, the opening song on the first album, it is ground zero by far. The atmosphere that is created by that song, the tone that is created by that song is palpable. And very few bands have been able to duplicate it.
Yeah.
50 years later. It has been 50.
Yeah.
It's been 50 years. That album came out in 1970. We're in 2020. That's 50 fucking years.
Still fucking.
It's a half century. It's still one of the heaviest songs over here. It's one of the darkest, most evil sounding songs over here. And
listen to it in the dark.
But
on Halloween.
Yes, but. And it's not a gimmick, right? They're not doing that to be gimmicky, like to make it sound scary or something. There's real passion and emotion behind the song, and there's real kind of a darkness, and it represents kind of the dark side of the human mind. But musically, it's still very dynamic, and there's a lot going on, especially in the back half of the song instrumentally. And Ozzy's vocals impeccably convey the kind of the sorrow of the human mind and the hopelessness at times, but then the song kind of cascades into this other realm that almost kind of gives a hope. There's a dichotomy there, and that's all done on purpose, right? It's not accidental. Yeah. So they knew what they were doing, and they're great artists. And they're often unsung artists because they were the black sheep of their time, because they were playing music that was so dark and was so heavy, that was so counterculture and against the time. And they were far more punk than any fucking punk band ever was, because they were doing shit that was so counterculture and so ahead of their time that they deserve to be up there.
Jesus, I wonder where number 1 is. Fuck.
Number 1, you want to take a guess?
I thought it would have been Black Sabbath. Is it Metallica?
Battery.
Is it Battery?
It's Battery.
It's Battery. There you go.
It's Battery because, I mean, talk about a tone setter.
Yeah,
like there's no better. The best analogy or not analogy, but the best kind of example I can get you of a tone setter is when we were young and we used to skateboard all the time, me and my friends, we would literally have that song on loop.
Yeah.
We'd be skateboarding out in front of the driveway in the street with a ramp or whatever, and we would just have that song on loop.
Damn.
Because it was such an insane tone setter. Like it encapsulated everything they were trying to do at the time.
Yeah.
Right? So, and it was so heavy and so aggro, but also so focused at the same time. It's like a well-guided missile, right? To where it just crushes. It just hits you in the mouth and doesn't stop. It just does not stop. Even when it slows down, it goes to halftime in the middle before the solo. That feel that it gives you is so like heavy and like mean and nasty. And it goes back into thrash with the solo, and then after coming out of the solo, it goes into the double kick section, which is just brutal, and it just makes you want to like get in a circle pit, you know? If you like, it's just there's nothing like it. It's one of those songs that is so timeless. in that genre. I obviously I know that people aren't really into that genre aren't going to get it as much because they're just going to hear it. And it's going to sound loud and angry and maybe too much. But if you're familiar with the genre, it exemplifies that everything that release, that kind of that the catharsis of the genre of just having that release and kind of a band just going and going and going and the audience feeling it. It's tough to duplicate, and
it is.
So it's brutal. And by the way,
great opening track.
And by the way,
the probably best thrash album ever.
Not probably. It is. But and then you go from that into the title track, the second track. So one of the things that's kind of that we're not really touching on is how the opening track kind of segues into the next track, right? Because a good album, there's elements there, right? So Battery goes into Master, which is a masterpiece, right? So it goes into Master Puppets, which is a ridiculous fucking song. It's a better song than Battery by far. Battery just has the energy of being a great opener, but Master Puppets is a better song. So let's talk about other things. Yeah. The Black Sabbath goes into The Wizard, which is a crazy, weird, spacey blues song. Yeah. Shiny Crazy Diamond goes into Welcome to the Machine, which is insane, right? Like it's just so there's an element there of how does it continue into the album after that, and that's Battery is a tone setter, and then the album after that just never lets up. Even when you get to Sanitarium and it's a ballad, kinda. Like it so flows from what Battery started to getting to Sanitarium and then on from that into like Orion, which is like a really emotional instrumental. There's so much there. So the opening track definitely part of it is just setting the tone for what's to come and all of these Hell's Bells. You go into Shoot to Thrill after that, and it's just it's just whoa. So a lot of this has to do, if you haven't noticed, the albums that we're talking about are like top tier albums, right? Some of the greatest albums ever. And that's why the opening track is so great, right? Because the rest of the album that follows it is just as great, if not better.
Exactly.
So that's a big part of it as well. So, and that's what's kind of what I feel like, not to get off in too much, I'm already off in a rant. It's too late. It's too late. So.
Go for it.
But the last thought I'm going to give before I'm going to shut the fuck up and let this guy stumble around some words for a minute. So is in this day and age, people don't listen to albums as much anymore.
It's all singles and
right.
And
but what makes a song great is the context of the album that it's in. It can be great on its own, and it is. Battery is a great song on its own. Black Sabbath's great. Hell's Bells, Shiny Crazy Diamond. Those are all great songs on their own. Angel. But they're just made that much better by the album that follows them. So if you can have it better, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Why not? Huh. Why would you be like, nah, it's good enough as it is. I don't want it to be better. No. Have your cake and eat it too. Why the fuck not?
Yeah, there you go. That's Chris's top 5, my top 5. Go ahead and leave a comment on what your top 5.
Any honorable mentions?
Yeah, we should do honorable mentions. Let me get you my honorable mentions real quick. And I mean, there's a lot of good freaking tunes for honorable mentions. Real quick, I was bouncing around from 5 a lot. My number 5, I was either Cowboys from Hell.
Oh, that's a good one.
Holy Wars, The Punishment.
It's a good one.
Good one.
Megadeth.
Them Bones.
Oh, yes.
Fucking great track to open with.
Into Damn That River.
Damn That River. Oof, good stuff.
Hopefully you guys know who these artists are because we're not really.
I kind of just lot of good Mastodon ones with The Wolf Is Loose.
Oblivion.
Crusher Destroyer.
Oblivion. Come on.
Oblivion's good too. Yeah.
Oblivion.
Perry
Mason. Perry Mason.
Ace of Spades as well. I mean,
how about Aces High?
Aces High.
Iron Maiden.
Aces High is good too. I agree with that.
Okay, we could go on for all night.
One more. I'm gonna go with Splinter.
Seven Dust. That's great.
I gotta give it Seven Dust.
Seven Dust. Black. How about Black from Seven Dust?
I like Splinter better. than Black.
Okay, but Black's still a great.
Black's still good. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
One of my big honorable mentions is definitely War Pigs.
Yeah.
So Black Sabbath to me just takes the cake because it sets the tone for their entire career.
It does. Yeah.
But War Pigs is like takes it to the next level. And when you hear that, and the thing about Paranoid, it's a great album, but I almost feel like it never actually reaches War Pigs level.
I don't
like
know.
War Pigs sets such a high bar.
Good songs on that fucking album too.
100%, 100%. But War Pigs is so amazing.
It is. Yeah.
And it's like it definitely deserves a spot in the honorable mentions for sure.
Keep going. You got more?
Let's see. I was thinking about Rusty Cage from Soundgarden.
Ooh,
it's a cover song of a Johnny Cash song, but it's so amazing the way that they do it. I love it. Bomb Track from Rage Against the Machine.
Ooh.
Talk about a tone setter for their entire career, right? If you never knew about Rage Against the Machine and then you listened to that song, you started that first album. Again, that was one of my top 5 debut albums of all time. Mm-hmm. It's no coincidence that the first track on that album is a banger. So, and you start that and you just hear that the way it comes and comes and builds, and then just hits you in the teeth. It's like it sets the tone for their entire career. So, there are probably some others.
But like going back to Black Sabbath's Paranoid album, Fairies Wear Boots. The way the end the album is a fucking amazing song. I love the rhythms in that song.
Okay, but closing tracks is for another episode. Another episode, but yeah. We can do that another time.
Maybe another time.
We forgot about Enter Sandman.
Calm down. Speaking of Metallica.
Enhance your calm?
Speaking of Metallica.
No, we don't need to speak of Metallica.
No. They've been on a roll this past month, man.
They've always been on a roll.
They've been on a major
regardless of what the naysayers say, they're fine.
Beating out Katy Perry with S&M 2 album sales.
Well, they should. I mean,
it's Metallica. Biggest band in the world, right?
Yeah.
They've been on a fucking roll.
S&M 2 is fucking amazing, by the way. So, pick that up.
I just got it. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, so I'm probably this weekend. I will. You've watched it yet? You saw it in theaters.
I saw it in theaters twice.
Yeah, twice. I never had a chance to.
Twice.
So. Right on. All right. Well, there you go. There's our music segment. Hopefully we didn't bore you to death with our lovely metal. If anyone's watching out there,
I think we're onto something. Yeah, I know we didn't like name like the top 5 debut pop songs or opening pop song tracks of all time.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh well. You get what you get from here.
Hit Me Baby One More Time did not make the cut.
No,
sorry.
I don't even know if that was the opening track.
It might have been. I don't know.
Might have been.
Lucky guess.
Lucky. Who knows?
It's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
But I think we got an idea. I think we got an idea for a later list.
Yeah. Ending tracks.
Top 5 closing tracks.
There we go. We'll see when that happens. And we're on to the next.
It might be
segment,
difficult.
Right? It'll be very hard. All right.
Good fight.
We're not good night yet. We're still fighting.
We're not. Next segment.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.